Prosecutors in the Rust fatal shooting case plan to dismiss charges against the actor Alec Baldwin in the case of that fatal shooting on the movie set of Rust. Baldwin and a weapons supervisor were charged with involuntary manslaughter, you may remember, in the shooting death of the cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. CNN entertainment reporter Chloe Moretz is breaking this story. This is a significant move by prosecutors. As I understand it, there is still charges standing against the co-defendant in this case. Can you tell us where this stands, and is it over for good?
Well, listen, so what we are hearing is that prosecutors in New Mexico are going to be filing those documents today or tomorrow ahead of a scheduled status hearing. And this is ahead of what was supposed to be a criminal trial with Alec Baldwin and who you said the co-defendant, Hannah Gutierrez Reed, who was the armorer on Rust. I want to read you a statement from Alec Baldwin's attorneys, Luke Nikas and Alex Spiro. They tell CNN, "We are pleased with the decision to dismiss the case against Alec Baldwin and encourage a proper investigation into the facts and circumstances of this tragic accident." So we know that the next hearing was expected to take place on May 3rd, a preliminary hearing ahead of the trial. Unclear if that is still going to be taking place, but this is a big moment for Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin sat down with me last summer and he adamantly denied ever pulling the trigger. He said that it was anybody's fault but his. But, you know, he cried in that interview with me, telling me that there's not a day that goes by that he doesn't think about what happened to Halyna Hutchins. And the irony of all of this news today is that today the movie Rust resumed filming after more than a year since Halyna Hutchins died. They are at Yellowstone in Montana filming for about 20 to 25 days. And so this is all happening on the same day to go back and film that movie as part of a settlement between Alec Baldwin, the production of Rust, and the family of Halyna Hutchins, the widower, Matthew Hutchins, and that was just recently sealed by a judge. But this is a massive moment. We haven't heard anything from Alec Baldwin. We've reached out to the prosecutors, the DA in New Mexico for further comment. And I do just want to point out that this comes about a month after the special prosecutor, Andrea Reed, stepped down. And it comes after the DA recused herself from this case.
Chloe Moretz, thanks so much, and please stand by. Quite a development in this story we've been covering for some time. We're also joined now by attorney and legal affairs commentator Areva Martin. Areva, as we understand it, this is a dismissal. This is a major development in the case, no matter how you slice it, but dismissed without prejudice, and charges still stand against a co-defendant here. Does that allow the investigation and the case perhaps to be resurrected against Baldwin, or is he free and clear?
In theory, it does, Jim, but I cannot imagine that any district attorney would resurrect those charges given this bombshell news today in terms of dropping the charges, the involuntary manslaughter charge against Alec Baldwin. We know that the gun enhancement charges that were filed against him have been downgraded just this February. So I think for all practical purposes, Alec Baldwin is out of any criminal jeopardy as it relates to this incident.
Remarkable move. Now you followed this case for some time. What do you think the key was here? What is your read as to why prosecutors abandoned this case?
I think the thing that we can point to until we hear, directly from these prosecutors is the recusal of the prosecutor involved in this case. I have to imagine that the new person that came on maybe looked at this evidence and said, there is not enough evidence here where we can get a verdict, a conviction, at trial. We can't convince jurors beyond reasonable doubt, which is the standard in a criminal trial, that Alec Baldwin is guilty of involuntary manslaughter. I can think of no other reason that a prosecutor would drop a case.
No question. We should note that both Baldwin and the weapons supervisor did plead not guilty to this. Now, I wonder that this would close down the criminal path so far for Baldwin here. Are there civil liabilities here that would still hang over his head?
Well, we know, Jim, that there's already been a settlement with Halyna's family, and that her husband, in fact, is moving forward with, being one of the co-producers on the movie that's filming at this moment. So I think the biggest civil liability or potential civil liability, that case has already been resolved. So I think for all practical purposes, again, Alec Baldwin is in the clear, so to speak. He has maintained from the beginning that he didn't pull the trigger. He pled not guilty, as you indicated. So I think this is going to wrap this chapter for him.